Star State. What is up, everyone? Today we are in the Lone Star State, aka Texas, specifically in Austin, Texas. And Austin holds a very special place in my heart. We've been here a couple times now over the last few years, and it's a place that has such a fun, unique, quirky, and just rich history. A history that I hope that we can discover today. For today's video, we have 3 goals. The first goal, Lauren. What you do? Yo, what's up? Shout out, man. In the intro, already getting love, man. That's crazy. 3 goals for this video, right? Goal number 1, Lauren needs to find a pair of cowboy boots. She does not have any cowboy boots. I have my own. While we're looking for Lauren's cowboy boots, we want to uncover what makes certain boots more unique or more desirable than others. Why are certain work boots better? Why are certain dress boots better? I have a pair of Lucchese. Why do some people like them? Why do some people hate Lucchese? That's what we're going to discover. Goal number 2, we're walking currently towards South Congress. South Congress is one of the most dynamic and interesting neighborhoods in all of the United States and all of Texas for sure. And so what that means is, okay, what makes South Congress so unique? What makes South Congress so different? And goal number 3, I need a cowboy hat. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Drew. What it do? It's nice to meet you. Let's explore Austin. The hat, I love the hat.
I actually got Carlos to sign it in Will Buxton.
Stop.
It's actually my like a thing.
So cool.
Thanks.
Love it. For our first stop on this South Congress tour, I wanted to come back to the store I bought my first cowboy boots from to see whether or not Lauren could tap into what I tapped into about a year ago. This store is a specialized secondary store for Allen's boots, which we'll show you later on, and it's called Allen's Lite. A year ago, this entire space was packed wall to wall with dead stock vintage Lucchese boots. Boots from the 80s and 90s that had literally never been worn before. And that is where I picked up these boots. But the stock from a year ago is not the same stock that we saw on this day. And while we were browsing around the shop, almost everything we saw was either an Alvarado boot or some other lower tier or lesser known, at least lesser known to us, boot than what we knew. I wanted to bring Lauren back here because we were looking specifically for vintage Lucchese. The cool thing is this space is still absolutely worth visiting, as you can still find some really cool boots here. But for Lauren and I, we didn't just want something really cool, we're sort of looking for a diamond in a haystack, so to speak. Something that's rare or unique to its own as a cowboy boot. But this changed, in a year's time it changed, which is like, damn, I was hoping to show you guys this store. Like maybe I'll show you guys the video I made before, but. They say that everything's bigger in Texas, and I didn't believe them until I visited Allen's Boots in Austin. Founded over 40 years ago, this less than humble Western wear and cowboy boot mercantile was what I thought would be the perfect destination to get Lauren her first ever pair of cowboy boots. Here's what actually went down. Allen's boot selection is incredible. Anything you can imagine they have, from calf leather to ostrich, snakeskin, pony hair, the list goes on and on and on. Which for Lauren was sort of a double-edged sword. There were so many options that we actually could not narrow down a final choice. So I did what any loving boyfriend would do. I started looking for myself. And right next door to the main Allen's Boots retail was a B shop that carried a room full of vintage, dead stock Lucchese cowboy boots. Lucchese boots are some of the most touted Western boots ever made. And I could actually feel the difference between these boots and the Alvarado boots from the main store. Allen's Boots is a Austin institution. Make sure you add them to your list if you're ever in town. For the second stop on our trip, we visited Lucchese's new retail space on South Congress. Lucchese boots are arguably the most iconic cowboy boots in the world. Some would argue Ariat, some will say like Justin boots, but for me personally, the deeper I got into the rabbit hole of Lucchese, the more I fell in love with all that they stand for. What makes the brand so special is its commitment to quality. Quality that you can feel as soon as you touch the boots, that you can definitely feel once you have on. The boots are all handmade still, which is a testament to the craftsmanship of each boot. And while other boot companies will also have handmade boots as a part of their inventory, the quality of the leather paired with the heritage of Lucchese really played into its appeal, at least for me, and that's why I wanted to bring Lauren here as well. As we were browsing, there were a lot of boots that Lauren actually really liked. Lauren wears a woman's 6.5 in cowboy boots, and typically what you want for a cowboy boot is you want the top of your foot to fit kind of snug, like a firm handshake, and you want there to be a little bit of a gap in the heel. But she didn't really get that comfort, that nice feeling that you want someone to feel when they're gonna invest this much money into a pair of boots. Nothing really fit her, which was an incredibly annoying buzzkill.
So Lauren's in between sizes. She's like a size 6.5, 7, but more 6.5. And we were just told that they literally don't have any more 6.5s in the entire state of Texas, pretty much. So we're gonna try another boot to see if that fits. Right now, the issue is the top of the boot is just not very comfortable for her. And I don't know, it just isn't fitting the way she wants it to fit, so it's tough to be like excited about it.
How far is this from 20 minutes?
It's like the same toe.
True. Similar. Mine's a little pointy.
A little pointier, but like the same
Which I
design on the
like.
toe.
Like, yeah, there wasn't a firm handshake.
Do you feel like it was loose or too tight?
Loose. Slightly loose. Not like these.
Yeah. Thank you guys. So we just finished up at Lucchese. Here's the story about Lucchese right now. Like, here's what's in our head about it. Beautiful boots, love the boots. That guy Ethan who was there was fantastic. He actually really took care of us. But the problem is Lauren has a unique foot, so they didn't really have her size, for one. And for two, the way that I was able to find my boots, Lauren wants to be able to have something that's kind of unique to her own. And while all those boots are beautiful, like, there was none of them that were like, yes, like I need them. So
I wasn't like in love with any of them, and I feel like I need to see the boots and be like, those are for me.
yeah, I agree.
These are mine, I'm going home with them.
I agree. And it just wasn't like that. So we're gonna go to Tecovas. We're gonna kind of explore more of South Congress, then go to Tecovas. Gotta get some food at some point too, and just see where kind of the day leads us. Because right now, it's looking like Lauren's not gonna, like goal number one, not gonna happen.
Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like South Congress Avenue in Austin, Texas is some sort of Texas Fifth Avenue in New York City. The truth is, the area we walked around in actually has a very unique history and is also going through a unique metamorphosis. In the 1850s, South Congress began as a rural posting route from Austin, Texas's state capital, to San Antonio. Back in the 1850s, these roads were all dirt. And from the 1850s all the way up until the 1960s, South Congress grew in importance and significance as a passageway of goods, ideas, and people in and out of the state capital. That was until the interstate rerouted traffic, totally changing the nature of South Congress in the 60s and 70s. Austin has an iconic slogan, "Keep Austin Weird," which is meant to remind the people of the city to maintain support for small businesses, to maintain support for live music, and to not abandon its quirkier attributes. And no matter who you are or how old you are, I think you can have a good time in Austin or on South Congress Avenue.
Scooters are cool until they're not cool. Exhibit A, B, and C. Today we're going to Tecovas, which is another boot manufacturer.
Tecovas is one of the most prominent players in the Western wear cowboy boot scene. Lauren and I have actually been to their store at Cherry Creek in Denver, but this one is bigger and has a lot more going on. We both felt that the quality, the feel of the leather, and the on-foot feel was not as pleasant at Tecovas compared to some other boots that we tried on earlier. Lauren liked the styles that they carry, but the boots felt much more rigid and much tougher.
And I feel like the footbed is like smaller.
I bet over time these will eventually break in, but nothing Lauren tried on really made her go, yes, like I need to have these boots. All right, So we're back in New York City, and I have some thoughts about this round of cowboy boot shopping. So while in Austin, we visited Lucchese, Heritage Boot Company, Allen Boots, and Tecovas. The thing was that each of these brands offered something a little bit different. None were the same and none were perfect. But there are two clear winners in my opinion, and I think Lauren has an opinion as well about which were her favorite brands. Starting with Tecovas. Tecovas is an incredibly popular brand. They make their boots in Mexico, which is really cool, but visiting them and very seriously looking at their options, I personally wasn't that impressed, and neither was Lauren. It was a good experience overall. Being at Tecovas, they offered us something to drink, everyone was very kind, the staff was very nice. Just the designs and the design language of the boots, it didn't really speak to us and what we were looking for a pair of Western or cowboy boots. They didn't have that beauty and like, I want to wear these to like an event in New York City, or I want to wear these down Madison Avenue in New York City feel that we were hoping to get from a pair of cowboy boots. This can also be said for Allen's boots, and if it's not clear, Allen's boots, it's kind of confusing. There's a lot of things going on with Allen's Boots. There's a store A and there's a store B, and Allen's Boots on top of that is a wholesale reseller. So that means that they actually carry boots produced by other boot makers. Some of those examples include boots from like Alvarado boots, and then there's things from like LM Easterling, which are super high in quality, where Alvarado the quality is a little bit shaky in comparison. The thing about shopping for boots inside of Allen Boots, inside of the main store or inside of the kind of vintage, more kind of like closet store, I don't know what to call, like if that's what you would call it. It looks like a closet in there. It looks like an attic or something like that. The main store is kind of this like insane experience of looking through thousands of boots and thousands of styles. And when you have that many choices, you can kind of get this like input paralysis where you don't know what direction exactly you want to go in. And I was feeling that for Lauren, and definitely Lauren was feeling that for herself. She did stumble across something in the back corner. It was a custom pair of boots from LM Easterling, and these are boots that she really loved. These kind of two-tone boots with the ostrich leather. Those are gonna be something that we'll circle back to and talk about a little bit later. But as of right now, for the general public, for like my recommendation, my feeling about the entire thing, Tecovas, Allen Boots, they felt like very overwhelming and kind of surface level cowboy boot or western wear boot experiences for what I was looking for. Not to say that they aren't good for maybe you, but just from my taste and my opinion about it. Then we have Heritage. Now, when it comes to Heritage Boot Company, I think that when we were inside this shop, they had the most like stunning, the most wow factor boots of all of the boots on South Congress of these stores that we visited. The only issue was the shopping experience. And these boots, you know, they're not cheap. None of these boots are cheap. Whether you're buying Tecovas and Allen Boots, that's gonna run you $100 to $500. And then as you move up towards like Heritage Boot Company and Lucchese, like, I mean, these are $700, $800,000 plus boots. So like, you would hope that everything lines up if you're gonna spend that much money on a pair of boots. The style lined up, but the actual shopping experience inside of Heritage Boot Company was lackluster. And here's why. The gentleman who was our shop clerk was super nice, but just not very helpful in us actually understanding the process of buying or getting to buy one of these boots. It felt like an exclusive club, or it felt like you had to be a part of the inner circle in order to get access to these boots. And while, you know, some people argue that gatekeeping is something we need more in fashion, it does feel a bit awkward when you come into a situation or visit a store to buy something and the person who's meant to help you buy it doesn't want you touching the boots, doesn't want you looking at the boots, but like it's a retail experience. So make it make sense, you know what I mean? Make it make sense. It just doesn't add up in my opinion. And then last, there was Lucchese, which I always seem to pronounce incorrectly. Lucchese, Lucchese, Lucchese. It's Lucchese, I know, but like I want to say Lucchese because like there's E-S-S-C-C, like there's all these different syllables in there. With Lucchese, the reason why I think it's number one on the list, for one, I have a personal bias. It's the pair of boots that I was wearing while on South Congress, and the pair of boots, the first pair of cowboy boots that I ever owned and purchased myself that I got from the vintage resale shop that I picked up literally a year ago to the date of making this video. I love the options of boots that they had in store. Everything felt felt incredibly premium. They're a premium brand, it should feel premium, and the shopping experience felt really premium. Ethan was his name, or Eli, I can't remember now, I'm blanking, something with an E. He was incredibly helpful. He brought out probably 5 boots for Lauren to try on, and we didn't leave with any of those boots, but he was still super attentive, answering our questions, talking about boots, just really knowledgeable and really kind the entire time. They didn't really have Lauren's size, so Lauren fits somewhere between a size 6.5 and 7, right? Like she really needs a size, was it 6.5 or 7.5 for your boots? So Lauren has a relatively small foot for her height, so she's about 5'10", almost 5'11", but she wears a size 7, size 6.5. In cowboy boots, she really needs a size 6.5. That's the size that she identified would be the most comfortable based on trying on. She probably tried on 15 boots the entire time that we were shopping for these boots. Lucchese didn't really have any 6.5s. I'm not sure if it's because it's the most common size or a very common size or a very difficult size, but we kind of went through this process of, yeah, these boots are cool, I like them, but there's no way we can leave with them because the sizing doesn't work. And this is just, it's a frustrating thing because like, you know, you think you'd be able to go and visit a store and find your size, but in reality, it takes a little bit more investigating, a little bit more work. And it's not like a huge knock on Lucchese, but it just was something that stood out that they didn't really have the sizing that we needed. And the other thing that's kind of a bummer about Lucchese is that they're kind of expensive. With that quality or proposed quality from the brand, there is a price tag that matches that. Long story short, I was able to buy my Lucchese boots vintage and they were on sale on top of that. So that was like a really special moment for me because they weren't just the type of boots that you walk into a store, the run-of-the-mill kind of everyday boots. It's nice to have something that feels a little bit like you got lucky or that you found it or it's something unique to you. Even while I was in the store, the workers there, they were like, what are these boots? I was like, these are vintage Lucchese's from the 90s. I don't remember the name, but like I picked them up a year ago in the store down the, like literally 2 stores over, and they're like, wow, those are really special. And I kind of want to be able to give Lauren that experience, which is like something that's really special, really unique. I think the closest thing there was Heritage Boot Company, and then you have a little bit of that at Lucchese. And then there was the boots inside of Allen Boots, the LM Easterlings, these custom boots that really kind of set themselves apart from the rest of the crowd when we were shopping. Alrighty, no more foo-foo. I had Lauren dig up the actual receipt from the purchase of these boots a year ago, and this is what I can tell you about the boots that I currently own from Lucchese. The style description is WY Burn Baby Buffalo D. So I'm assuming that means Wyoming Burn Baby Buffalo, which is like the color mixed with the style or type of leather, and then D denotes the width of the actual cowboy boots. I was told, and what we learned repeatedly on this trip, this current trip to South Congress, is that you want the top, the vamp of the shoe to feel like it's a firm handshake or a slight hug around the top of your foot. So that's what felt like that. For me, that was a half size down. And the description for these boots is GC 9776613. Now that description, I don't know if that's for the actual shop itself or if that also will apply to other searches. I tried looking up the Wyoming or WY Burn Baby Buffalo and many Lucchese options came up. And these boots that come up, the Fort Collins or the Collins boot that comes up, for example, is a boot that's well over $1,000, and I paid a little bit more than half than that. So I got a decent deal on my cowboy boots. Now, one of the things that you have to keep in mind when it comes to Western boots or cowboy boots is that there are dress boots and then there are work boots. Dress boots, like the boots that I currently have, are not meant to be worn for, you know, hours and hours walking around, whether you're in an urban setting or a more rural setting or whatever setting you're in. They're more for short sprints and they're more to show kind of a casual style, right? Even when I wore these on South Congress a couple days ago, like for prolonged periods of time, I was getting pretty serious foot fatigue, and I just, you know, I was like, how can I can't wear these any longer. I can't wait to wear like a pair of sneakers or loafers or something like that, because while the quality's there, this particular Burn Baby Buffalo leather is incredibly soft. It feels really good. You can see that in kind of the video imagery. The boots are just a bit cumbersome to wear, and if you're not used to them, it takes some time for them to actually feel normal. And even though I've worn them several times, I've never worn them for like 10 hours at a time, non-stop, walking, 15, 20,000 steps. So where did we land in our search for the perfect cowboy boots for Lauren? It's sort of a mixed bag for us. So Lauren ended up becoming very infatuated with a pair of LM Easterling boots that we discovered in the back of the Allen's Boots, the hat section. There was like a little custom boot section, and we saw these boots. Lauren tried them on and was like, Drew, these might be the ones. But the problem is that they were a size 7B and they just didn't really fit her foot profile properly. But we didn't leave empty-handed. We decided to take the card of the person who can help us create our very own custom pair of LM Easterlings. That's the middle ground, I guess you can say, for our entire shopping experience, is that we went through all of these boots to figure out that, okay, this is the boot we want. We understand the style that we want, we understand the leather that we want, but it just isn't gonna happen this time. And I think for making these videos, you kind of want this like triumphant, like hurrah, like we bought a pair of boots, I can show you the boots over here, but it just didn't end up working out that way. So you might be asking, okay, Drew, what is LM Easterling then? So I did just a little bit of light research on them, and they're actually a boot manufacturer, a boot maker that was acquired by Allen's Boots, and they're kind of what Lucchese is to the Allen's Boot wholesale brand. They're a custom pair of boots, maybe even above what Lucchese does, because I don't know how much Lucchese probably does custom stuff, but like their retail space is not about custom stuff, or at least we didn't experience that aspect. LM Easterling makes their boots in El Paso, Texas. They deal with mainly high-end and high-quality leathers, and a lot of their boot production is for custom booting. Lauren fell in love with these boots. I also saw another pair of like these ostrich loafers that were beautiful, and the goal is to take what we love and match that with the production capabilities of what LM Easterling has to offer, and see if we can work out something to show you guys the final result at a later time. Now obviously not everyone can go the custom boot route. Tecovas and Alvarado boots, that's one of Allen Boots' other subsidiaries, are great entry-level boots for people who are curious about Western boots, curious about cowboy boots, but don't want to spend the exorbitant price range of something like an LM Easterling or a Lucchese or a Heritage Boot Company. You still get high-quality boots. In a lot of ways, some will say that Tecovas is and Alvarado are even higher quality than some of the Lucchese and the more premium leather companies, because they maybe deal with types of leather that last a little bit longer, and they still have really unique designs. They just weren't designs that Lauren and I appreciated or wanted. And when you're holding the boots and you're comparing them, one store after the other, we noticed the dip off in quality for Tecovas and Alvarado compared to Lucchese and LM Easterling. Now, Heritage Boot Company, Heritage is for someone who's a very serious kind of, maybe like even like connoisseur of cowboy boots or Western boots, or for someone who really wants to like turn the dial on creativity and like uniqueness as high as you can go, or pretty high for a pair of cowboy boots. If you want to go for a company that has heritage but isn't Heritage Boot Company, I would go with Lucchese. They obviously are what a lot of people consider to be the top dog, the big dog when it comes to the history and the manufacturing capabilities, the fact that they're made in the US and they have this just 100+ years of making boots and providing boots for some of the most stylish Western wearers and cowboys in American history. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, they use Lucchese boots. They have the greatest foothold in the culture from the standpoint of high-end cowboy boots that other boot companies don't have. When you say Lucchese, when you show Lucchese, it evokes a certain response from people. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. It's all dependent on what your interests are. If you have any additional questions on cowboy boots or Western boots, leave them down in the comments. And as always, I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity in 2025. So that means I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity to you and to everyone who's alive, wherever you are in the world. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Abianto. Peace. Yo, what is good post-vid? Hopefully you're having a good day today. Here are the fist bumps for the one time. Bah! Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. Here's the second fist bump. Give me a fist bump, bro. Come on. Or sis. Bah! Thank you so much. Quick PVV for the day. All I'm going to say is I'm heading back to Japan. And I want to know from the PVV first, you're hearing it first, what do you want to see? What do you want to know? What do you want to experience with me while I'm in Japan? Hashtag PVV when you answer. I'm so excited to read those comments. It's not gonna be next week, so I'll see you in next week's video. There's a lot of ideas brewing in my head. Hopefully you're enjoying the video so far. We'll see you next week, all right? Peace.